You know, the line between being pompously inflated and arrogant in egoic pride and having a firm soul confidence can seem like a very thin line, right? And I just experienced a moment in my ego where it was accusing me. You know, self-accusation happens frequently with us, but only the aware will notice where those thoughts come from. And I just had this accusing thought streak through my mind. It says, Renee, you are too self-assured, too self-confident. It really can look like arrogance. I am rock solid, certain of what I know, of the consciousness that I have. There's no question about that. And I will never budge from that. It's like you have to understand that your consciousness is your direct link to God. So if you're questioning your consciousness, you would be questioning, in traditional terminology, you would be questioning God or the Spirit of God. You can own that as yourself, because from your soul space, from your heart space, you are the consciousness of God. Your natural mind, your ego mind, is always going to try and separate you from the divine consciousness, from your spirit, by making these types of slanders and accusations against yourself. The ego, with these thoughts, is truly the archetype, is truly the representative of the archetype that we know as Satan. It's the accuser of the brethren, because it is constantly accusing, not excusing you, accusing you about ways that you shouldn't be this, you shouldn't show up like that. You know, you might look too arrogant, you might look too conceited, too full of yourself. I am full of myself. I'm full of my whole self, my completed self, my divine self. I'm embodying spirit and soul now, and I've married it to my ego. So my ego is not going to get the chance to act alone anymore and make an ass out of me. I am full of myself. You can never be too full of yourself if it is your unified self, right? You can be too full of a rogue ego that operates from wounding and undermines your self-trust, your self-love, your self-respect. Ego really, the unbridled, untamed ego, really is the enemy within. And it shows up as very sold out Christian. It shows up as a very devoted Muslim. It shows up in all different kinds of religious genres. You see, ego is constantly trying to make you improve yourself because it cannot recognize that you in your soul are enough, that you in your soul are God, right? If you know that you're God, there is nothing to improve because can you improve upon God? The ego wants to improve you because it's only got the human lens. It only knows the one dimensional version of you, the human self, with all the flaws that were created through trauma, and that has turned us into reactive individuals because we are really just defending from getting hurt. And depending on the severity of the trauma and the shadows that are not healed yet, we're going to be reactive and defensive to varying degrees. It's self protection, it's ego protection, right? When ego acts alone, it creates havoc. So you have to bring that ego self into harmony with your soul self in order to create the Christ consciousness, the unified. Isn't that fitting that I have this cross halo above my head? That you have a unified consciousness of mind and soul. And that is what connects you to the Spirit of God. Not only does it connect you to the Spirit of God, but you realize that you are the Spirit of God. And so when you have that consciousness, it's not blasphemy to say, I'm full of myself. I'm full of the Spirit, consciousness that I am. You want to be full of that self. You want to be full with the connected soul self. It's life transforming. Yeah, I might come across as prideful and arrogant to people that feel insecure in themselves, because what I'm mirroring scares them, because they don't find themselves at that place yet. They find themselves in a deficit, and that is always scary, right? You want to be full of your unified self. You want to be full of soul, right? But most people at the moment don't even know they have a soul because they're always in their ego mind, always in fight or flight, always in defense mode. And you can't heal if you're always in defense mode. You just create more wounds, deeper wounds. So, yes, I am full of myself. Yes, I am so self confident because I have the acute awareness. I can tell when my carnal mind tries to separate me from the consciousness of wholeness, and I can stop it in its tracks.